two-room school. It was like poor.
The hallway was a computer lab and a library all at once.
Do we have a library?
You don't remember the library? There was like a tiny, tiny library at the back of the school, and it was like 3 feet tall, and it had a bunch of books that we could borrow. It was like a ghetto library because we had the real library at Westwind, but we had our own ghetto library in Austin Harris.
It's just 3 classrooms, and I remember the library was in the hallway. The books were all lining the hallway, and just the office at the front, which was quite a small office.
Wasn't really much. 3 classrooms, I think.
It was just like, it was like a cloakroom kind of deal at the back, just a bunch of hooks, but then there were a bunch of bookshelves.
We'd always have to come up to Westwind for PE, and we would also get a library with a librarian at Westwind on those days. So we'd all walk up together and go to the library and then the gym, or vice versa. And it was a little trek, and it was actually fun walking through the path, getting to the school. And
Back then I was so young, it just kind of seemed like that was what you did. I was like, oh, every school walked 3 blocks to go use a gym or a library.
Because we're so ghetto, we had to walk over to Westwind just have PE, so.
It was neat. You got to go to Westwind and they sold juice, and they sold juice in the little cups. You know how they sell apple juice now? They sold juice in one of the corners.
We had to go use their gym because we didn't have it. We were poor.
It was cool because it was a big event. You know, everybody had to put on their coats and everybody had buddies. And remember this kid? We had this albino kid one year.
I think I've seen him recently. I think he still remembers me.
That stupid Skylar would always ruin me.
Skylar was the albino kid,
Yeah,
right?
he was the problem child.
It was somebody albino. They're all the same.
And we had a bad book, and if your name was written 3 times in the bad book, then you had a detention or some sort, but I mean, nothing ever really happened.
There were those chestnut, what were they called? Bommy knocker trees. And we used to throw them at each other.
I remember, well, I think that they kind of cut the bottom of the trees, but they used to have these big trees. And I remember, like, the older kids were, like, wrapping the girls in the tree. Like, I don't know, they were putting them in there, and then they were wrapping a branch around them, and the girls were like, oh my God. And I remember they pulled me in there, and I didn't know what was going on, so I started to cry, and one of the guys was like, we gotta cry her, let her out. So I don't know.
I remember someone falling off a tree. I remember that one.
Brandon Yee ran over my foot with his bike, and then he didn't say sorry, and I waited till I got home before he cried. Bryce jumping over his fence, coming to school, but he was always late, even though he never had to walk.
well, I just remember the playground out front, the little playground, and most of the kids were out there. One thing I don't remember is the duty really, and well, I mean, kids played in the back field and stuff, but I don't actually remember supervising at recess, but obviously we did.
Recess, it was always like hopscotch or playing on the playground or basketball or running away from the lunch duty teacher. And most of the time we tried to stay inside, but the teachers always kicked you out and said, go get some fresh air. So it's a constant battle.
Beat up Bryce and Maddie and his brother. Like every recess, we tried to beat them up. There's like 5 of us.
We had a lunch duty teacher who used to bring us candy until some parents complained, and that didn't happen anymore.
Jouet, the rabbit, used to run all through the classrooms and visit the other rooms and run down the hall, and it was just part of the school.
Miss Taylor had a rabbit, and its name was Joelle, right?
I remember it was that bunny that pooed everywhere. Remember, what was the teacher's name? Jouet was the bunny, and she used to make us pick up the poo with our hands. She did. She'd be like, oh, they're so dry, everybody. And so, like, at the end of the day, every kid had to go and pick up poo. I remember 100 Day, you know, where you had to bring in something 100, and every year on the night before, my mom would be like, well, get some popcorn and put on. For like 3 years in a row. Last minute, you know, I'd do the number 100 and do it in popcorn. And it's like the 3rd year in a row.
For me, it was my first 2 years of teaching, and I think it was a great place to start because it was very close-knit, and it seemed like all the parents knew each other and all the kids knew each other in the whole school, and everyone kind of looked out for each other, and it was a great setting to start in.
Well, I mean, it didn't have the funds, and I mean, it was really small, so you didn't have access to a variety of teachers. It was the same 3 teachers, but I mean, that made it really cool. You know, you had 30 kids and they were all in one class. You had a population of like a 90-kid school. It was just really neat. It was a really tight-knit community.
Because Homa was opening, so the new school, which some of the kids were coming to Austin Harris from, that lived closer to Homa, and then the population that was going to stay at Austin Harris got too small, so those people that were left, there was only going to be 2 classes, which wasn't enough to keep the school open, so they either went to Homa or Westwind.
Yeah, it was really weird because for me it was just a natural progression because it was like grade 3, we graduate, and then we're going on to grade 4, but then it got shut down, so.
You can actually still see the outline of where the school was.
It's not there anymore, so it is a big change because we can't actually go back and check out the school and be like, hey, that thing was that small? Like, we can't do that anymore, so it is a loss.
I think of where my portable was and where the actual school was and where everything was in the building.
I feel like right now Austin Harris was more affected when the school was torn down. Right now it's just kind of a field. I don't think the sense of community is going to change that much, except for Halloween, which will be drastically different.
Everyone gets together, all the kids get together.
It builds a great community spirit around here. We've been doing it for, 14 years now. The kids look forward to it. In fact, it's why we moved to this neighborhood.
Yes, that's why, it's as soon as the fireworks is over, the kids go home and it's the end, which is really nice so we know where the kids are.
Well, there's certainly, it certainly helps close the street down and the neighborhood down early, so it's a safer place for the kids. It's great. It's the only time, other than cutting your lawn and going for walks, that you get to meet your neighbors all year. So this thing's a great event, regardless of the park. I hope we can keep some form of it going.
Welcome to our 14th annual fireworks festivities. Unfortunately, this could be the last year that we hold the fireworks or any park activities for that matter, if City Council grants a request to rezone from public to private use and allows the park to be developed. It's most important that we stick together as a neighborhood to help save Austin Harris Park. If you haven't received a brochure already, please pick one up on the way out of the park tonight. There will be people handing them out. Let's keep Austin Harris a park. Now on with the show. Drew?
This is the 14th time we've done this. It's never rained. Rained right up till about 7 o'clock one night, but it's never rained whenever we've held the fireworks. We started off with about 8 families out in front of our street on Pintail, and eventually we ended up getting Osprey going, and then Plover and Plover Court and Flamingo and various others. So anyway, we hope you enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It keeps the community, gives the community a chance to get together and meet new neighbors, and keeps the kids safe and off the street.
The landmarks, we'll still remember it as Austin Harris Field.
After being there, you really see the community aspect that the people feel and how it really did draw them together, and it was a place they could all meet and be together.
Austin Harris is just, it was really cool. I mean, I didn't go to another one, so I couldn't really compare it. I did when I was older, but it was just a really neat, really tight-knit school. I mean, everyone in the neighborhood went, and it was like everyone on your street, so it wasn't a huge, like the people who went weren't really, really broad. It wasn't like you only saw that kid at school. The kids who went to Austin Harris, you saw on the streets. You saw them, you know, they threw snowballs at you and they ran over your foot. I mean, you saw them all the time, so it wasn't just a school thing, it was a community.